Good morning and welcome to City Talk. It's a weekly radio program, it's a podcast, it's a TV program. It's an opportunity here at the City of Waco for us to communicate with all of our citizens and all our viewers and listeners across the community about the great things that are happening in Waco and just bring you up to date on what's going on. I'm Larry Holsey, Director of Municipal Information and Communication. Today I'd like to welcome our new mayor, Dillon Meek. Dillon, thank you so much for taking time out because I know how busy you are.
Larry, it's so great to be here.
Yeah.
So fun to get to talk to you and viewers or listeners at home about some of the exciting things that we're working on and doing here at the city.
Absolutely. Real quick background for people because you've become mayor as of the November 3rd election, which is really kind of weird because prior to that, I think 2015 to 2020, you were the District 4 council representative, which is the heart of the city, kind of the older part of town as it is, doing great things. And then just thanks to COVID, it kind of blew the May election out of wow, and you were running for mayor at that time. But the problem was you didn't know what's going on, and you had already made a decision to move your house and not very far.
Yep.
Talk a little quick about that and how that transition just really kind of kicked you off the council for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Joy of my life was getting to serve for 5 years on city council representing District 4 and was anticipating this May election and had before COVID and the effects of COVID had been realized for sure. We had gone under contract to buy a house and sell a house, never thinking that the May election would get tossed. So moved just a couple blocks outside of the District 4 border and just thought, well, contractually we would have moved after the election. So win, lose, or draw, at that point it wouldn't have mattered what district we were in, and looked all over the city and every part of the city, including District 4, but just didn't find anything. Found the house that was right for us just a couple blocks outside of that border and thought, well, win, lose, or draw, we'll move after the May election. And then the reality of COVID kind of came to set in, and that election got pushed. So took a temporary break and was really so great to kind of step back and get to see the council continue to work so well in a really difficult season with COVID, and they did such a good job. So it really was neat and interesting to get to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, it did. And Mayor Deaver carried on the baton, as it may be, until November, past his normal time. And he has already gotten into it and started and did a marvelous job.
Sure
you don't
did.
make any comment about that?
He's just, selfless leader, always mature, always thoughtful in his approach, and was just a great example to me on how to lead well, and was continually selfless, and I think always was thoughtful in making the right decision for Waco, and so we certainly miss him. I still call him regularly. In fact, I got a missed call for we were playing phone tag a few minutes ago to bounce ideas and what's the backstory here, or what is some wisdom that you can give me here. So again, so thankful to have a relationship with him where we can get good wisdom on how to move forward on some things.
Well, I think it's always critical, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because any leader knows the fact that they're not going to be able to take the baton and run with it without having good knowledge, even though you've had 5 years or 4 years or more, well, 5 years really on the council beforehand. Anyway, real quick, talk about your family, because I know your love. In fact, it's on your page on our website, where your priorities are faith and family, and those are really critical for a person to be able to serve in an important role like you are as mayor.
My family is definitely the most important thing. My faith and my family are the most important things in my life, and I have an amazing wife. Her name's Lindsay, and we met at Baylor many years ago, and have been married for several years now, and she's just an amazing wife and mom and support system to me, and a dear friend. And so we're raising 2 kiddos. We have Mabry, who's 4, and our son Davis, who's 2, and they are amazing and funny and a mess, and really in a fun, sweet season. We're just kind of coming out of the holidays, and so it's a really kind of a magical season to see young kiddos really embrace all that is the holidays, and see their personalities really develop and grow, and try to learn how to be good parents and love our kids well and discipline them well and figure all of those dynamics out. And so it's a really fun season for us to just be able to have great quality family time. We were talking a minute ago about what we're doing this weekend, and just love the idea of just going to the park and letting our kids run around, going to on neighborhood walks, and it is a sweet season for us.
Well, having a good supportive family is number one, very critical for you, but also having a family that you can relax with and deal with the common everyday things of being a father,
Sure.
Husband, and all that kind of thing that distracts from you from the pressures of being mayor.
That's right.
But also brings the reality, the fact that this is what a lot of our citizens are dealing with as well.
100%.
The reality. So family
100%.
support is huge.
Yep. Absolutely.
A position like you get.
Very blessed.
Well, let's go back to COVID just for a moment. I don't want to talk on that too, but your leadership has gone, you've stepped right in and done great. And I know you probably talked to Mayor Deaver before all the time, as you said, but you've assumed the role of leadership in a manner that's just really great. I know we do the press conferences every week, and you've been hosting those so well and carrying on that, I guess you call it tradition now, because we're almost a whole year into this whole thing now. Talk a little bit about the COVID, the vaccines and things like that we're into, because it's ever evolving, and from a mayor's standpoint.
Sure. I think that what's the most important thing for the public to know is that this really is a team effort, and we've built a really good coalition around different subjects in our community to ensure that we're really addressing this subject thoughtfully and carefully with multiple folks from multiple disciplines. And so as we whether it's hospital capacity, and whether it's the free testing facilities, whether it's just communication strategies and ensuring that the public is informed, we really have tried to build a coalition of people around these different subject matters to ensure that we are doing the best work we can in the most thoughtful way possible. And it's never perfect, but I'm really proud of the effort. I'm really proud of the team that has come together to really work to keep our community safe by listening to local doctors, getting their counsel and advice and wisdom, and then working with other community leaders to ensure that we take the right steps that are right for our community. A couple of things that we have done well, I think, is build up those teams. Another thing that I really am proud of is the working groups that came earlier on in the COVID process for the business community, health and healthcare, communication, and then education and social services are the four groups. And council members and community leaders have all worked together to really take a strategic approach to our response to this. And I'm really thankful for that, and think that we have really tried to build good collaboration in this season. Vaccines is something that we're working around the clock on right now. There are more than 20 providers of vaccinations in McLennan County, and there are two hubs, Providence, Ascension Providence, and our public health district. And the thing that we have direct control over here at the city is our own public health district's public vaccination clinic, and have worked really hard to build out a good, safe vaccination clinic in our convention center. Logistically, that has run very smooth so far. We have had some hiccups on our sign-up process, but think we've worked out the kinks by building out this wait list now, and are continuing to work strategically to ensure that leadership at the state has the information of the need in McLennan County, and are really trying to lobby and ensure that McLennan County is getting its fair share of vaccinations. So working really thoughtfully to ensure that we can get as many McLennan County residents that want to get a vaccine and vaccination. And are so thankful for our hospital systems and other community leaders participating in these conversations with us.
I think the collaboration has just been amazing, and I think that's the success, because we all have the same common goal. We want to take care of our families, especially the elderly, those who are immune compromised maybe and need it, the 1Bs and the areas like that, and hopefully real soon we'll be able to get past the 1A, 1B phases that we all been talking about, and get into where the more regular people without all those special things. But we still have to emphasize, as you've always done, you can't make anything stronger than what the governor has always said. We have no ability to do that, and we have to just keep masking and doing all this.
That's right. That's right. Our local doctors continue to say, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep good safe distancing, follow safe distancing protocol, and I've relied on this local doctor council and will continue to do so. So it is nice to have the light at the end of the tunnel in this vaccination process that we're going through, and I'm optimistic that we'll get there soon. and we're going to continue to work hard to make sure that that day comes as quick as we can, and I'm excited for that day for sure.
One of the things that I've seen, again, I read our webpage on you, and it said the fact that the key thing that the mayor does, you specifically as the mayor, is you listen, you foster collaborations, and you build consensus. That's what a good mayor should do all the time, and you've definitely jumped into that, and you're doing that because listening to the public, listening to the staff, listening to anybody, and then fostering collaborations between the partners, just as we talked about in the COVID, and then building a consensus to be able to move forward. Talk to me, tell us a little bit about how that whole thing, mostly, I guess, building consensus, when you're working with the council, because you have 5 other members on the council who have an equal vote.
Sure.
You as a mayor don't have any more power than one of the votes, so you're 6 votes.
Yep.
Talk about the council and how you feel the consensus is now and has been in the past.
That's great. Great question, Larry. And and that's very kind of you to say some of those things. But I do think that's the key to success, is really trying to build collaboration and build consensus and listen and hear and seek to understand and give the benefit of the doubt. These are things that I think make government and leadership effective. I learned a lot of that by getting to serve in District 4 as the District 4 council representative, which was a very diverse district, socioeconomically, racially, with a lot of different histories and needs in different parts of the district. And in order to be successful, that was critical. Coming in with a listening ear, trying to build consensus and working towards common goals and common good were some of the things that I really tried to learn and attempted to do well in that role. We have a great council now. There's a legacy in Waco of having a city council that does that is productive, I believe, and is able to accomplish much because they are able to work together and doesn't get bogged down in political bickering or political anger, but rather works together for the common good of our community, disagreeing frequently. And I think that that's the beautiful thing of democracy, is that people can have different ideas and people can disagree about goals or approaches to it. And sometimes we have the same goals, but we have just different approaches to it. But what's so productive about our council is that we are working together, kind of adopting some of those principles, I believe, of giving each other the benefit of the doubt, seeking to understand one another, thoughtfully listening, while still holding tight to our convictions and trying to advocate for what we believe is best. And I think that results in a better outcome, and a lot of it's rooted in good relational trust. And I think that's been a challenge in COVID, is being able to build a relationship with council members as we traditionally have. We don't meet in person, we meet virtually. And so that's another thing I'm really looking forward to doing, hopefully at some point soon, is meeting together again when doctors, local doctors will give us that counsel. So.
Very well said, and I will concur with that totally, because I've watched for decades now. I've been here 22 years and watching. Of course, I've been a citizen forever, my whole life. But at the same time, seeing the positive force moving in one direction anyway, collectively, and I think you can probably concur with this. Very rarely is there, other than a 6-0 vote. I mean, it is a strong vote together. Shows the council believes in, just as you said, the message and the things that you decide on together.
Sure, and I think sometimes the public might perceive that that's just rubber stamping, and that's not true. This council works in committees that are all open to the public. Our budget and audit committee, which is open to the public. We work really hard to ensure that we're doing the right stuff and moving forward, and certainly are really thoughtful and working together to figure out what the best thing is. But a lot of times that we're able to, even before a vote, make an edit to a decision or amend something to find that compromise to move forward together in unity. And so it's not that those 6-0 votes aren't out of a place of quick rubber stamping. It's because we have the relational capacity and the flexibility and the willingness to say, okay, like let's, if you want this and another wants this, then let's how do we work this out to where everyone can kind of get something that they want out of this without watering down the product of whatever it might be. And so it's been a really beautiful process to get to work with folks, to our current council, to really hammer out good products, I think, in the decisions we're making.
If you just joined us, we're visiting with Mayor Dillon Meek, who took office in November and is serving very well. This is going to be your 6th year actually serving on the council with the vote that we just talked about. Kind of following up in the process of what we said earlier about you as a mayor and the council has no power to change anything the governor has done regarding the COVID thing. The legislature now in the state of Texas is in session, which is always a challenge for cities, especially like Waco, to know what's going to be put down to us, many times in unfunded mandates that we have to then take on the financial responsibility to provide the same thing we've always done that the states may be paid for. Talk a little bit about the legislature, how you kind of feel. I know it's really early on, and we have people representing the Waco and monitoring what's going on.
Sure.
Talk about the legislature and how that does impact the city's operation.
Sure, that's a great question. First of all, I'm so thankful for our representatives, Senator Birdwell and Representative Doc Anderson and Representative Kyle Cassell, and their just continued work to really listen to the needs here locally and then go advocate that for us in Austin, and look forward to continuing to have a good partnership and working relationship with them. I think that you brought up the unfunded mandates, and I believe that we've expressed those concerns to our representatives, and are hopeful that they'll continue to advocate for us on that behalf. And we're able, one thing that Waco is able to do, and it's actually something that's being discussed in Austin right now, is whether or not cities should be able to do this, but cities are able to hire lobbyists. Really the purpose of that is to bring efficiency to what is a difficult system. In Austin, things move very quickly. Bills are changed very hurriedly. And for us to be able to, and a significant number of those might have direct and significant impact on cities, both in budget requirements or fiscal requirements or some sort of mandates or just impacts, positive or negative. And so we're able to have a lobbyist there that's monitoring the variety of bills that might have an impact on our specific city, specifically Waco. Brings a lot of efficiency to it. We don't have to hire a government affairs employee. We can just outsource this for a season in Austin, and it brings a lot of efficiency to ensuring that Wacoans' needs are being kept in mind throughout the legislative process. And so that's something that the legislature is considering, whether or not cities should be able to continue to have lobbyists. I hope they can, because it really does bring efficiency to protecting Wacoans' interest in Austin. The other thing I'm really hopeful about is some economic development conversation that's had at Austin, continuing to ensure that we can have a strong economy through different incentive opportunities, workforce development and training. Waco's in a really exciting place in its economy with the number of jobs coming to Waco, and so being able to ready ourselves through workforce development is something important, and that's something that I've talked to our legislators about, is really thinking through strategically what the legislature can do to ensure that we can upskill our workforce to be able to absorb those good jobs coming to town.
Absolutely. Well, you touched on what my next question was going to be, dealing with budget issues, because a budget for the city is pretty much the guiding document throughout the whole year, because you can't operate without funds and funding from the state and other areas.
Yep.
Of course, our tax rolls and things like that are always a little bit more flexible. But we're getting ready to start pretty soon in February. We'll start drafting and working on the budget that has to be adopted, because we run a fiscal year of October 1st through their 31st. And that's a process that you've been through numerous years now. But kind of talk to us about what you feel like, because we've been very blessed, I think, with our sales tax coming in, and so far the property taxes. So the shortfall that we were fearing with all this COVID and impact. Talk a little bit about the financial condition of the city and how you feel like that will hopefully not strike us in too many bad ways.
Sure. You mentioned this, that our sales tax numbers are coming back more positively than we feared they would be, and so that's great news. We don't have the finalized property tax rolls yet, and so that's a big variable, is to see how our property tax rolls will be impacted by COVID, and we don't know that yet. I think that I'm excited for this budget process. I think COVID is the big variable. We'll see what kind of, both in terms of revenue and then in terms of expenses, what do we need to budget to plan to expend because of COVID. This year alone, we've had so much, from our testing to personnel and a lot of different areas that we've had to really adapt. And so I don't know what exactly the expenses will be that will go to COVID, and how that's going to continue to shape over the next several months as vaccine distribution increases. But in terms of normal things that are happening in the city, we have seen continued growth, both in residential and in commercial. And so as our economy grows, I think one of our goals would be to try to find a way to reduce our tax rate. How do we strike that right balance of making sure that Waco is an affordable city while still providing the high quality services that our citizens expect, and ensuring that we can continue to incentivize and grow incentivize businesses and grow our economy. And so those are some of the balances that we're looking at in this budget cycle. I think you're going to see our council really move into some aggressive and innovative economic development policies and strategies, ensuring that we're continuing to attract and incentivize exciting companies like Amazon, who's going to employ 1,000 folks, but also supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs, continue to diversify our economy through whether it's the creative class or bringing more professional service jobs to downtown, really taking a holistic approach to economic development and trying to innovate some exciting ways to do that. I mentioned job training a few minutes ago, and I think that's going to be something that our council is going to take a hard look at, and that is upskilling our workforce to ensure that folks can go get the highest paid job possible. And that's going to be a great way to bring up our median income and bring some excitement to our entire economy. So those are some of the things that, from the economic development perspective, I think we'll be looking at in this budget cycle. We've got a sharp council with a bunch of different perspectives, and I think that'll move forward this year. Equity has been a priority in our budget, and we've stated that before. In Waco, a statistic that we've brought to the forefront is the disparity of outcomes. One specific disparity is that 51% of black households make less than $25,000 per year, and compare that to 13% of white households. So really taking a hard look at what are some of the economic development policies that we can implement that are pragmatic but aggressive to really build up our economy. I think that really one example of the complexity of this discussion is ensuring that we're putting an equitable lens on how we do workforce development and training programs, or how we're incentivizing small businesses, and ensuring that everyone in Waco has an opportunity to find that success. And that goes full circle back into the listening. So we're going to do the good hard work of listening to everyone in our community about the needs that they have, and really try to provide opportunity for everyone.
You know, when we have overall population that we serve, close to 250,000, right, at 250,000 live in the county and whatever else, there's a whole lot of other than Waco people. So there's a whole lot of collaboration and partnerships you have to work with the 19 other cities that are in the county. We got 9 or so school districts inside, I think, the Waco city limits and the county. Talk about partnerships and how valuable that is, because Waco cannot do it all, even though we seem to be serving most of those people with a lot of the services, like the health district, for example. There's partnerships through that, too. So.
That's right. Man, I can't tell you how thankful I am for Judge Felton and our county commissioners who Again, that is something I inherited, was a good relationship between the city and the county, and we work frequently and regularly. I talk on a near daily basis with Judge Felton on a variety of things, from economic development to COVID, and how we can continue to partner and collaborate together, because through that, I think that all of our citizens benefit. And we've got a lot of municipalities in the community too. I had the privilege of serving as the chair of the MPO, our Metropolitan Planning Organization, a couple of years ago, and by working on that committee, got to know other mayors and other city managers in the communities nearby, and do believe that we certainly are all benefited by working together and collaboratively. And have talked to some of the different mayors and city managers, or some different council members in different cities on occasion, and would love to do that more. And I'm excited to build deeper relationships with them, to really work together to grow and build up our region.
We just recently announced the new health director from McLennan County Public Health District, LaShonda Mallory Horn. She'll be coming in on March. And we also have, we're in the final stages of the police chief search. We've got a couple of minutes left. Kind of tell us your feeling on that.
I'm excited about that. I mean, just for clarification, those are city manager hires. That's not a mayor or council hire. But what I'm thrilled about our new health district director. I think that I have not had a chance to meet her yet, but I'm excited to do so. I have read up on her, and seems to be phenomenal, and can't get here quick enough. We're in the middle of this COVID, so come on, let's. I'm sure she'll hit the ground running, but we're so excited to have her here, and really welcome her, and think that she's going to bring a lot of understanding and acumen from her experience working at the Department of State Health Services, and her career since then. I think is going to add a lot of value to this community, and so are excited to see her get to work. And like I said, the sooner the better. I am really thankful for our city manager's approach to the police chief hiring. He and his team on the third floor of City Hall, the city manager's entire office, has taken a real thoughtful and critical approach to really attracting a robust group of candidates for this police chief position. And I think that we're going to see some really great candidates come out of that. I know they're in the final stages of those interviews now, and I'm excited. And I know that there's been community conversations. He's brought in a panel of folks from the community, as well as our Police Officers Association, to really try to get a balanced approach and ensure that trust of community members as well as our officers can be found in this police chief, and I'm excited for the outcome of that.
Well, it's an exciting time. It's a struggling time still with the COVID, but as you and I were talking about before we went on the air, we feel that hopefully if the rollout comes from the state of the vaccines like we hope.
I hope so.
And everybody can get them. I haven't had mine. You had.
I have not. Yep.
Get everybody vaccinated, and hopefully then in the fall or whatever, we can start regular everything happening.
That's right. I'm ready for it.
Absolutely. Waco Mayor Dillon Meek is our guest on City Talk. Dillon, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for your leadership.
Thanks,
and your consensus building and all the things we just talked about, and the difference it's going to make, and the collaborations that you're doing with the other people in the county to bring us all together to make this great place we call Waco home. And we just really appreciate that. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Larry. Appreciate it.
In the time we have remaining, I'd like to remind you that if you're looking for information about COVID-19 vaccines, testing, or the status of what's going on here in McLennan County, always go to covidwaco.com. That website is filled with information. It's updated daily to give you the latest information where you are. It's an easy way to sign up for the wait list if you've not signed up for the wait list, and the status of what's going on. If you don't have web access or email, you can also call 750-5606. That's the City of Waco's public information hotline. That's a way for you to hear some of the latest information that is on that website if you don't have access to web or an email. If you do sign up for the wait list, then you will be contacted when we have vaccines available. Be patient, because there are thousands of people ahead of you, possibly, if you've not registered already. But we're going to take it as quick as we can, and hopefully we'll get more vaccines in from the state, and we'll get everybody vaccinated. We also encourage you to check many of the other 20 providers throughout the county that are also receiving vaccines in addition to the McLennan County Public Health District. We hope you'll join us again next week for more information about the City of Waco on City Talk. This program is produced by the Municipal Information Department of the City of Waco and is provided as a public service by this station.